Port Hadlock in 1870. The entire town had just been bought by Samuel Hadlock, who intended to establish a lumber mill at the south end of Port Townsend Bay. Once built, the mill rapidly grew, extending in both directions along the shore. In those days, the lumber, milling, and shipbuilding industries fed on each other, and so it was in Port Hadlock. What is now Lower Hadlock was the center of town, with all the expected accompanying industry and entrepreneurial spirit. 5-cent pints naturally gave rise to legendary brawls as loggers, lumbermen, boat builders, and sailors converged on the growing town. In 1913, a fire burned for 3 days through the dusty, clapboard sprawl that had been Hadlock and left only 2 buildings standing in its wake. But even after the mill burned, some boat building and maintenance continued under the auspices of shipwright William Sears. That tradition continues today at the Northwest School of Wood and Boat Building.
In 1981, Libby Palmer and Henry Yaton had the inspiration, the heartfelt vision to create an educational environment where people can learn these traditional skills. And they had the good sense to invite Bob Prothero to join in the effort.
What Bob saw happening in the world all around him, and it wasn't just in boats, it was just kind of in general, is that the craftsmanship was going by the wayside. Any kind of craftsmanship, and didn't like it. And his little part of bringing some craftsmanship back into the world here was via boats. Bob thought that boats had so many crafts involved in them that it was a great medium to teach craftsmanship in general. And if the people were good, if the people were well taken care of like he did his own employees, the boats would come.
Okay, bend it in. Me and the other instructors, I feel, are here because we all have a passion for boats, we're all obsessed with boats, and we're all naturally want to be teachers. What we try to do is we try to give the students the broadest range of experiences. Boat building isn't rocket science. It's a series of steps, and the steps are quite simple. The problem is that there's a million steps.
The longer they're here, the longer they experience what they do, they realize that it's accumulation of a whole bunch of little tasks that look fantastically complicated when it's all put together, but it's really not. That's the whole point of the school, as far as I'm concerned, is to take the voodoo out of it, the real complication out of it.
To start from, this is how you sharpen a chisel, to this is how you use a Japanese handsaw, to all of a sudden you're making your own tools, and then you're using those tools to then build a boat. It's a rapid program. In 3 months, we're building boats. So this is where you'd want to come to learn that in an accelerated fashion. You can't learn that on a job somewhere. There's no real apprenticeship jobs anymore. There's no old-timer with a cool hat smoking a pipe in a shop somewhere that is going to take you under his wing and teach you these things.
The boat school is our apprenticeship program. The places that are touched on which are essential to our trade, which are lofting and fairness, something that you can only learn in a boat building school. Also, you just learn basic hand skills with power tools and hand tools, and you learn about the acquisition of skills, you learn about the completion of tasks, you learn about working in teams because you only can do part of it yourself. It's not so much the very particular skills, it's the package of education that they get coming out of there that I think makes them marketable.
I had been thinking about going to the boat school for a number of years, hoping to parlay it into a job building big custom boats. And I finally got to a point in my previous job that I just needed a change. I needed a career builder. So that was it. We decided to move up here and went to the school, and I learned a lot about the fundamentals of woodworking. Gave me a very broad-based experience to
continue my career as a shipwright. After I was at the school, I was hired on to continue work at this 62-foot custom sailboat. We called it Sliver, now it's called Francis Lee, built at the boat school 2011 through 2013. The boat was trucked down here to CSR, and the joke kind of goes that they packed me up with the boat and sent me along with it because I knew everything there was to know about the boat. So I saw it from beginning to end, from a pile of lumber to handing the keys to the owner. With the experience that I've had professionally and then also with the school, I think I'm a good, well-rounded employee.
I started going to the boat school because I decided that I wanted to learn a trade before I'd sort of been directing my career towards education. And I kind of realized I want to learn how to do something and build something. And when I started out, I didn't have any knowledge whatsoever of woodworking. So I started at the basic skills quarter, and that was a big help. Then from there, I went to large craft construction, and that was also really exciting. Right off the bat, they said, we hired you because we really just need people right now working on this boat. And it was a 103 or 108-foot Navy vessel they were wrecking significant portions out of. So my first month here was, sledgehammer and a crowbar, ripping pieces off the boat. A lot of the people here have been through the boat school, so you're expected to know how to use hand tools. I was really glad that the school emphasized the traditional tools so much. A lot of the boats in the yard now do have a lot of historic significance. Places like Haven, a lot of the owners who really love wooden boats are helping to preserve that sort of technique. So that was exciting.
I grew up sailing, kayaking, canoeing, and I decided that I wanted to row the North Pacific. And I would build my own boat. We have 2 different shops now, and I get a lot of applicants actually from the Northwest School of Wooden Boats to work here.
I've always been really into building things and creating things, and it was more from an artistic standpoint, I guess, taking things apart and putting them back together, and found the boat school in some deep corner of a forum somewhere, and it all just came together. I'm probably the boatiest guy here as far as the building of boats.
Corey came in interested in boats and craft and learning how to build these things. He can fit a square peg into a round hole and figure out solutions to the weird stuff that comes up in boat building because he was so well trained in different facets of how to make a boat and just the interest in boat building.
There's a lot of tooling and a lot of woodworking for tooling purposes in composites. And so I brought a lot of that from woodworking. There's definitely a learning curve of working with epoxy, and then next level of working with epoxy and carbon, and then building these boats the way we build them, foam core, everything's carbon taped together. Everything I do still is enhanced by the things that I learned at boat school. Having that bag of tricks has a place in composites, the old traditional boat building stuff.
I think that you know that when somebody graduates from the wooden boat school that they're going to value what they do, and Corey values it.
My wife and I received the opportunity to move anywhere in the United States we wanted to. I was medically retired from the Army, and we picked here in the Northwest. For me, going back to the boat school really was kind of a return to self-sufficiency, to show that you can actually make things with your hands still, and be able to produce the kind of artwork really that you see with the boats. Now that we've dug ourselves a little bit of a hole, this will help us to not have to go down so much, but really kind of clean that up a little bit. Without the boat school, I wouldn't have a craft and a trade. The boat school gave me direction. There you go. My basic job is to teach and to provide some of the skilled labor that is required.
Bradley teaches me on a regular basis what I can do out in the water to just make the boat get back on service. So it's really fun to learn on a daily basis from someone like that.
In the boat shop, we use mostly hand tools for everything. Every piece of wood that ever gets put on one of our boats is always carved with a hand tool. I think my favorite memory was definitely instructors. It was amazing to watch them pour their lives into us and to teach us this incredible skill. This is my passion. There's nothing like mucking around in boats.
It doesn't matter if it's a traditional Carvel planked boat or a contemporary cold molded boat. When you look at it, you can almost feel the heart that goes into them. We end up building some really fine boats. A lot of them are just downright elegant.
People that can grab tools, that can fix things, that can build things, that can look at the world and see, oh, I can fix that, I can create this. It's a world of possibilities that you engage when you have that kind of self-confidence. You might go into any other trade, but you still have that relevance. That's the eye that you bring and the thoughtfulness that you bring to everything you do as a boat builder.
The boat school really is building on tradition. Those traditions of grassroots support, craftsmanship, are always going to live on here at the school. But so are the traditions of innovation and relevance and reaching a broad spectrum of today's community. I want to make sure we value the work that's come before and honor it by making sure the organization is sustainable to carry these traditions forward for the next generation and the generations thereafter.